probably should have got a little bit more ahead because podcasts were like huge back in,
Huge during
the
COVID.
COVID times, and that probably would have boosted us up a little bit more.
Yeah.
But, hey, here we are now, and we're doing great
Everyone
things.
padded their stats during COVID, those
It's
bastards.
true. It's true.
No, I think, there's a right time for everything. I think you guys are clearly touching a lot of people in a beautiful way, in a hilarious way. I don't know. I think like the concept of your show is so brilliant, and it makes mental health more accessible for people that
Yep.
might be afraid of it or just don't have access to it, right? Don't have the language or the knowledge to be able to talk about that stuff. And movies, right? Television, characters, like being able to associate yourself with something,
Yep.
man, it's life changing. It's life changing if you don't know what's going on in your little brain.
Yeah. I will also say, Naz, do you want to talk a little bit about like some of the things that we have in our link tree that could also help people out if they are going through anything?
Oh yeah.
Please.
So obviously we have the show, right? And we're talking about scenes and visuals relating it to therapy. And then, we talk a lot about, men's health, but also health in all ways. But in the link tree, we got a bunch of goodies in there. And they're all free because I believe in accessibility. Like it was free for me to get this shit. Why would I charge you? Where you see a lot of therapists out there. I mean, I'm not hating, but a lot of them are charging. And a
Yeah.
lot of people will tell you should charge. But I'm like, but now you're just gatekeeping from people that can't get to stuff, and then you hustling people, whatever.
Yeah.
So in the link tree, you'll see a bunch of goodies in there, screeners for ADHD, autism. OCD. It's all in there. Hyperphantasia. It's all in there. It's all free. There's a bunch of different readings that you can get in there too. So there's a bunch of antidepressive stuff. There's a bunch of stuff I recommend any therapist to read. There's a bunch of books in there too about autism and neurodivergence. A lot of them, not a lot of them, but a good many of them are written by the guests that we've had on.
Oh, awesome.
Some of them are like famous as hell.
That's great.
Yeah, we've got tons of psycho ed in there. I've listed hundreds of apps that people could use for anxiety, depression, OCD, all of it. Like I just dumped it all in there, and I was like, hey, people will look at it. It's free. I mean, check it out. And we went from there. So thanks for plugging that, Spence. Because anyone's listening to this that's looking for something, like I literally just send this Google Drive. It's just my brain. But I send a Google Drive to all my interns. Like, here's the crap. If you need it, use it, give it to clients. There's worksheets, coloring books in there. Like, it's all free.
That's
some of it is
wonderful.
pirated, So,
But it's free, so.
Yeah. You may get a virus, but it's fine.
But
No virus.
are you gonna feel better? Yeah, you will. So it's okay.
You might get autism,
Whoops. Oh well.
I just had chicken tenders, so here we are.
There you are. I just had chili for the third day in a row.
That's good. That's good.
And you're eating, and that's wonderful. So that's all that matters.
That's a good pivot. Thank you, therapist.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, and you all can talk about, when I ask this question, whatever you feel comfortable with talking about. But I'm curious, what on your personal journey inspired you to kind of explore the world of mental health, especially in such a, public way, in such a public format?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it'd probably be just being friends with Nas for as long as I have, and just picking up on a lot of things that he kind of dishes out, because he has a lot of great things that he talks about, even just in his personal life. And so really taking those things and taking them to heart. And then I don't have any background in mental health, just want to point that out also. I've also never had therapy, or at least nothing I can remember, maybe from when I was younger or anything like that, but never had therapy or anything like that. But at the same time, just mental health and just making sure you're living your best life is something that's very important. And I'm glad I can kind of talk about it and then relate it back to movies and shows, because I love watching movies and TV shows, and I love just kind of just having different quotes and stuff from different characters and everything like that. And so I'm glad I could really combine two things that really matter a lot to me. So
yeah, it's a perfect fit.
He definitely is like more of the encyclopedia, because the other day we were talking to a guest, and I'm like, I got no freaking clue on who these people they are, what they're talking about. So it's just like, oh yeah, I know all them.
I said it just like that too. I know all of them. I swear.
I know all them white peoples.
They're the good ones.
Oh my god!
I hope he said it just like that.
Oh, I sure did.
He sure did. So my journey in mental health, it was an accident. I was supposed to be a physical therapist.
Hmm.
Couldn't get into school, as many of my guests know, our guests know. Couldn't get into school. And then I was like, hey, I got to make money. And so I decided to do the master's program in social work instead of the doctorate in physical therapy. A lot of folks know that I play collegiate football, work out, exercise a lot. I have this fascination just with muscles in general.
Yeah.
I can get into that. They just look pretty. you know,
I
and
love it.
physical therapy is just massaging them. I can't, just to touch one. It's
I
good I
love
didn't go into
this.
that job because I was gonna cancel. So now I just massage people's brains.
Oh my,
Oh, that's wonderful.
no, it's not.
It
It's
is.
not.
It's a wonderful image, I think.
There you go.
It's
So I
terrifying.
went into that and kind of loved it. Didn't want the responsibility of some of the things that I was told I had the responsibility of for being like a male, a large male, a large brown male,
Hmm.
a large cisgendered straight brown male. Like it just adds up. My professors like really got on me. A lot of magnificent black women that are like, you have to be better, and this is what you represent and stand for. If you want to truly save people's lives, this is what you're going to do.
Hmm.
So many of those talks happened, and wanted to work in K through 12, but I realized I couldn't handle it because it was just too traumatic for me with my own experiences, and they're just too
Yeah.
young and innocent. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Uh, way too much. I was re-triggering all the hyperphantasia and things. Is too much. So then I ended up lucking out, and I ended up working in higher ed. Been working in higher ed since 2016, and that's it. And then through there, though, began the autism stuff, and then I think probably 2020, I was like 2019. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm autistic.
Yeah.
And then my supervisor's like, no, you're not. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I am. And then I moved here to Purdue, met some friends. They're like, you're autistic as shit. And I'm like, thank God. Everything makes sense. And so the podcast is for mental health, but it's always the autism flavor and vibe in it, because it intersects with so many different things in the world that if you're actually talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, if you don't have this disabilities, but specifically just autism in there, then you're actually not being diverse at all.
Hmm.
And it's just cannon fodder to make yourself look good because it's more than just race and gender and religion. And in fact, if you know what autism is, then it impacts race and gender and religion and mental health issues, everything, trans issues. It's all in autism.
Yeah.
And so I do a lot of lectures and talks about that on college campuses too.
That's
But
wonderful.
so there's some stuff there. So I just happened to fall into it
Yeah.
because literally this is why. Because I couldn't spell or read good. If I would
Yeah.
have got better grades on my papers, then I would have had closer to that 3.8, 3.9 needed to get into the doctorate program. But
Yeah.
since I have dyslexia, my paper sucked and I never edited.
Yeah.
Uh, and so that always got me like a C on papers, so which always got me a B plus in the class. Shit happens.
Yeah.
It works out. Doing okay.
Clearly, you're doing amazing.
Doing okay. I ain't dead yet.
And I think that's a true measure of life at this point. Like, I didn't die, so there you go.
So yeah. And what about you? It said that you got a master's as well.
I
And
do.
yeah.
Yeah, in folk studies, in folklore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
what I'm sure people already know this about your podcast, but we don't. So what
Yeah.
got you into like pivoting into that?
Yeah. Well, I, growing up, my dad's from Mexico. And when I was very little, he used to tell us, all the scary stories as Mexican parents
Yeah.
do, like La Llorona and El Cucuy and all of these terrifying narratives. And I was always so scared, but I don't know. I felt safe in the moment, like with my brother and me and my dad, and we would be talking about them. And those stories kind of always stuck with me, and I always felt safe with them. And it wasn't until I was an undergrad I accidentally took a folklore in the media class. I didn't
Right.
know folklore was a thing. I didn't know you could
Yeah.
pursue something like that. And I wrote a paper. My favorite human in the world is Guillermo del Toro. I love
Oh yeah.
Guillermo. I love
Yep.
his narratives. I love his stories. And Pan's Labyrinth is my favorite movie.
Mm.
So wrote a paper all about that. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I can talk about this stuff. And that's when they were like, hey, just so you know, we have a master's program. I think it would be really cool if you tried it. um long story short, in the degree, I explored my focus was narrative and how scary stories and horror are kind of a tool for survival for a lot of different cultures and a lot of different
Yeah,
marginalized groups, but mine specifically. And so I explored La Llorona, the weeping woman. And as I
saw
was
that.
writing it, I realized during the pandemic and all of this stuff, right? Like many of us, we had the worst time in the world. And I realized I had pure OCD and I didn't know what that was because we never talked about mental health growing up.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Check out the full episode on our channel and anywhere you find podcasts. Also, remember to like and subscribe. Whoop whoop!